A very good morning to all of you. Welcome to today's news analysis. We are doing the Indian Express Papers Chandigarh edition. Today is 6th of December. Now let's quickly look at the topics that we are covering. So I have tried to not mention the repeated topics. So only the ones that seemed most unique and relevant also. So those I have mentioned. Okay. Over here, from 3 to 6 are editorial and opinions. And we're not going to strictly go by this article, but we'll also focus on the revision part as to what all things we need to cover, the things that were previously mentioned regarding the topic, that also we will recall. So this will be beneficial. Now, before moving ahead with the front page, let me tell you, we have a Telegram channel, we have a community. You can join us. Plus, we are sharing current affairs based MCQs on a routine basis, which will be helpful for your prelims. Now, coming to the first news, Congress names Revant Reddy as Telangana CM. Right, so this news is done. Besides, with regards to the issue of US, on the issue of assassination plot concerning the Khalistani leader Pannu. So same thing has been updated. It says US confirms that deputy NSAs raised this issue with Indian officials. Next, we get to know about the violence in Manipur. So violence has taken place, a gunfight took place in which 13 Meitei dead bodies were found. Okay. Now, very quickly, if you look at the Manipur map of Manipur, the plain area is the Meiteis, the majority community, and this is surrounded by hills. On the northern side is the state of Nagaland on north of Manipur. So Naga hills are there, so Naga population is staying. And other than that, there is the other people is the Kuki community who are again living in the hills. So there is a violence taking place between the Kukis and the Meiteis. And the violence is more so in the interjunction where the plains and the hills meet, the valley area. So this also took place in the valley districts. NCRB data has come out, the latest data on crime released by Ministry of Home Affairs. So we have city specific news. We also have pan India editorial, covering the NCRB data. So let us see some of the things that we observe, at least over here. Missing persons recovery ratio is lowest in Chandigarh. Then suicide rate in the city is more than the state overall, Punjab and Himachal Pradesh. Somewhere it is reflecting upon a social dimension, why in a more urban, more sophisticated area, more suicides are taking place as compared to the hinterland. Next, nation remembers Baba Saheb Dr. Bhim Rao Ambedkar. Now, as far as exam is concerned, of course, we know the contributions of Dr. Bhim Rao Ambedkar in making of the constitution, right? So the role and contributions of Dr. Bhim Rao Ambedkar that can be prepared. Now, this short note will also help you with your prelims. Then a mains-based question that was asked sometime in 2015 GS1 paper was about the differences in ideology and approach of Dr. Bhim Rao Ambedkar and Gandhiji. Right, so comparison on that regard was asked. So we all know both worked on the issue of untouchability, but Gandhiji differed in his approach as compared to Dr. Bhim Rao Ambedkar. In fact, Dr. Bhim Rao Ambedkar was very critical of Gandhiji on this regard, Gandhiji and Congress. So this is how you can prepare this topic. Next, we come to the debate on economy, which took place in Rajya Sabha. So naturally, the issues of jobs, price rise, malnutrition, etc., were discussed. Now, this discussion came under the category of short duration discussion. I think something that you have studied in your Lakshmikant book, polity book. So, what is this short duration discussion? So, it is a 2-hour discussion. So, that means you cannot exceed 2 hours or discussion on a, and this is to discuss a matter of urgent public importance. So this was the short duration discussion. Now, what issues were discussed? So one issue that was stated was the issue of unemployment. So from opposition, P. Chidambaram, the former finance minister, says that unemployment rate is rising. He quotes the periodic labor force survey data. By the way, periodic labor force, let me tell you, it is an indication of employment situation in the country. It says the number of people who are employed and working, of course, divided by number of people who are employed plus who are seeking work but are unemployed, or unemployed and seeking work. So this periodic labor force survey for the population is 46%. 69% for males, if we look at the gender wise breakup, and 22% for the females. This is an important fact, 22%. Okay, so what does this 46% imply? It implies that 46% of the people who are seeking work, right? So they are getting work. Only these many people are getting work. And if we look at the women, so if you just have female employed plus female unemployed, so that is 22%. That is very low. Uh, so this is one issue that has been raised, that country is not able to create jobs. Another thing that we can say is that the GDP is increasing at a good rate, at about 7.6% recently, but jobs are coming down. There is joblessness in the economy. We can also say that we are in a situation of jobless growth, right? So that is how we can do. So that's the main thing that was discussed. Now, again, we can look at the data of female unemployment, the low participation of women in the labor force, and what are the reasons associated with it, and more so when the GDP is rising. This is again something that can be seen both in GS1 as well as GS3 paper. Next, so unemployment rate amongst the youth, he says, between the age group of 15 to 24 was 23.22%. Very, very high. Next, not concerning employment, but maybe a result of unemployment. It says net financial assets of households have come down. It is at a 50-year low to at 5.1%. So financial assets are coming down. Now, when are financial assets going to come down? When you have less money to make investments, or when you already have investments and you are liquidating it to raise cap money. So it means that people do not have money, or there is less money with the people. There is a stress in the economy, underlying stress. So that is what it is indicating. It is indicating also that there is decrease in consumption, because you have less money. So basic necessities you will meet maybe, and you are relying on borrowings. You liquidate your assets and raise capital for making your ends meet. Then, now this is something that you can quote in your answer rating. Next, 23 crore people are within the poverty trap. We put spice to it, and this is still 23 crore people are within the poverty trap. And besides this, there is the issue of hunger. So there are 16.3% are undernourished within the children. 16.3 are undernourished. 19.3 are wasted. Wasted means thin, being thin. And 35% are stunted. The height is less. So they will not grow to their full height because they are malnourished. And wasted means your body weight is not according to your age. It's much below your age. So that is wasted. It's below the thinning level also. Now, here you could also write about the global hunger index also, that our rank has been falling down. Malnourishment question has been asked in prelims. Question with regards to the global hunger index released by which agency, that has also been asked, already been asked. Okay. Next we come to the there is a challenge in the Supreme Court uh, with regards to a provision of Citizenship Act 1955, Section 6A has been challenged. So, what is this Section 6A of the Citizenship Act? So, it simply says uh, the cutoff age, with regards to the Assam Accord, with Assam, there is a problem that uh, there are concerns that illegal foreign migrants from Bangladesh have come and settled over Assam and become a part of this. So there was an Assam Accord and NRC exercise done with the idea of identifying the uh, people who have encroached and then sending them back to Bangladesh. That was Accord was basically an agreement, and NRC was the exercise of identifying people. Now, with regards to this, there is Section 6A of Citizenship Act. It says that there is a cutoff limit that people who came to from Bangladesh to Assam within this time period, they will be deemed as citizen. Those who came afterwards, after this period, shall not be deemed as citizens. So that is the Section 6A of the Citizenship Act. So petitioners have been challenging this from a long time, from 2012. So Assam San Militia Mahasanghs. So there is this organization, right, which is raising this issue, and they call it as unconstitutional. It says that for India, it is the cutoff date is July 1948. So why for Assam it is 1971? So this, she says, is wrong. But I think one thing we should keep in mind is that there is this West Pakistan and the fine, let be. Now we come to the editorial and opinion section. So first article is there is North versus South. So it talks about a fault line within the Indian politics regards to North and South issue. So what is the main theme of this article is that he says that the issues of the North, specifically the ones that are raised by the ruling party, they do not have an appeal at the southern level. So they raise the issue of Hindu, Muslim, the Mughal dynasty, and the wrong things that were committed. So South was more or less immune to this. The best they can get to is the issue of where Tipu Sultan or the territories of Nizam. Other than that, they don't have much. You know, it doesn't strike a chord within the South. More so in the Kerala, Tamil, so this region. Okay, so that is one this thing. Second is BJP glorifying Hindi, right? So BJP or what, even the other parties also previously, so that Hindi should be made the official language and all those things. So this doesn't resonate with the South, where the issue of language is strongly entrenched. They see it as an imposition of language, imposition of the Northern culture. So that was the main theme of this article. Now, moving on, there is a reference of Dravidian movement. And from Dravidian movement, we can also look at the self-respect movement and EV barrier. Right. So we can work on these two important aspects of modern history. So Dravidian movement started with the formation of the Justice Party. Right. So you can read this. It's about uh, the caste and those that and the society that was there. So it was a resistance that they say that foreign culture has been imposed on the people from the south. The Dravidian is reflecting of the indigenous people population. So all that. So to do this, it was started with the Justice Party. Now in prelims, there was a question asked with regards to the Justice Party, like who all were the founding members, right? So we have to know all the names over here given with the recent trends, all the names important, the names you have to memorize. There is no other option. So they go deep these days. Next is Perrier, ev Perrier, or ev Ramaswamy, who's also known as Perrier. So he did not start, he was an important leader of the South and Dravidian movement, but he did not start the Justice Party. He was eventually the head from 1939 to 44, but he did not start the Dravidian movement. Okay. So just, and his birth anniversary is also known as the Social Justice Day. And he declared no God, no religion, no Gandhi, no Congress, and no Brahmins. Okay, so that's it actually. Next is the crime story. It is it's referring to the NCRB data that was recently released, or Pan India data. So some key takeaways: recorded crimes against women, children, senior citizens, scheduled caste, scheduled tribes are on a steep rise. It also is indicative of a social dimension, right? In by default, even if this was not said, we would have known that the crime against women are on the rise, and this is something that can be asked in the mains paper also. Next, cyber crimes went up 25%. No surprises over there. I think it will be much more because not every crime is reported. There is a serious underreporting. NCRB is basically taking the data from the FIRs, the digital data that is there. Many data is either FIRs are not registered on purpose, or people do not go and report. So that is the issue. And one reason of the increase in crimes, they say that normally the police says, when they are cornered on this question that crimes are increasing, they say that people are more aware. Uh, so, and there is increased presence of law enforcement, therefore more FIRs are being registered, and therefore more crime is being recorded. Anyways, this is still important that crimes against women issue, crimes against scheduled caste, scheduled tribes are on a rise. It cannot be since the last year it has increased, right? Last year also the presence would have been there, awareness would have been there, nothing significant has been done. So logically thinking, woes for the planet. So here, Mr. Alex Ellis, he's the British High Commissioner to India, and he's saying how UK and India can work together, right? So that is one thing that we are going to do, and of course we are going to recall as to what all information that we have with regards to the COP28. A quick recap. So let us see. First of all, he has to praise India. He has to praise, he's a British High Commissioner to India, right? So first what achievements, and then how we can work together. So he says India used G20 presidency to bring up Green Development Pact, which is new commitments on tackling deforestation. Green Development Pact. Then India's initiatives like Mission Life, which is focusing on bringing in behavioral changes on the consumer side, which will, or responsible behavior, which will automatically lead to emission cuts. Then, which is not mentioned, the CDRI, Coalition for Disaster Resilient Infrastructure. So that is again India's initiative. International Solar Alliance, right? We can go on and on. Okay, so all that India has done. Besides this, India is working on the growth of renewables. By the way, we are 42.5% of our power generation is coming from renewables, or we can say renewable energy capacity. Installed renewable energy capacity is 42.5%, but yes, we are dependent on coal for thermal power for 70% of our power. Now, the both countries can work on the issue of growth of renewables and green hydrogen. Sometime in 2020, I think, the COVID times only, that we need to be a green hydrogen economy. That was also there. Okay, so they can work together on making electric car batteries, and there is Shell company which is making investment in renewable energy within India. Then UK has committed rupees 16,000 crores as a climate pledge at COP28. And these can be used in collaborating with countries in enhancing the capacity of countries like India in making a transition to clean and sustainable economy. Then one area that the world countries should work together is reversing the loss of biodiversity. He refers to his Prince William's Earthshot Prize with regards to this. Now, what we know about the COP28, etc. So first of all, in this COP28 exercise, this is taking place in Dubai, and here the global stock taking was to be done. Basically, an assessment as to where we stand on the fight against climate change. So that was one this thing. This global stock taking exercise started in COP27, the Egypt summit. So that was their global stock taking. There is also the operationalization of the LDF, Laws and Development Fund. Now coming to this thing now, COP28, global stock taking. Now we know that climate change, is on the rise. World Meteorological Organization's reports suggested that uh, we are already reaching 1.5 degrees Celsius mark. We had to limit ourselves to 1.5 degrees Celsius of the pre-industrial level, but we are breaching this level. In fact, we have done this for about 80 plus days in the last year, and we are witnessing the warmest day, and the subsequent years are going to be the warmest years, next 4 5 years at least. Same thing was reiterated by emissions cap report released by the UNEP. And then we have IMF report. Not very sure the name of the report, but can be World Economic Outlook. It said that in dealing with the issue of climate, we need $5 trillion between now and 2030. $5 trillion can be for creating green infrastructure, for creating new technologies. It can also be creating disaster resilient infrastructure, right? So that the losses that are going to take place with regards to climate change, etc., so that can be dealt with. So $5 trillion are required. Now, why am I stating all this? Because if we have to do a global stock taking, we should know where we have to go. We need to know the end goal. By 2030, we need the emissions to be at 43% of emissions that were done in 2019. So it has to come down by 43% so that we can keep the goal of 1.5 degrees Celsius temperature rise. We can limit the global warming to this level. So by 2030, we wanted emission cuts to be 43% of 2019 levels. But as things stand, we are only at 2% emission cut. We will be 2030, but in 2030 will be only done doing 2% emission cuts from 2019 levels. So this is not adequate, and the risk is very, very real. Now, where does India stand? We don't know. But India has committed as part of its nationally determined contributions that they will, by 2030, they will have emission cuts of uh, 33 to 35% of 2005 levels. So by 2030, 33 to 35% cuts of 2005 levels. That is what India had committed. Next, we come to India and geopolitics of AI. I was, why this article is there. The main thing is that there is this global partnership for artificial intelligence, which has 28 countries, and India has presidency for this year. That is the reason. Now, I find this more interesting, geopolitics of AI, as to what all is happening in the recent times. Because, so we focus over here. So some important events are, one is the Bletchley Park Declaration, which happened under uh, happened under the leadership of United Kingdoms. So in this, it was declared, that first of all, frontier AI was defined. Frontier AI is the new age AI, and it also means the generative AIs like ChatGPT, etc. So it says that we need to define it, and we need to have coordination and understanding at the global level with regards to the risks and benefits of frontier AI. So it was basically an effort to bring in coordination and understanding. Further, there was proposal that there should be an international organization to oversee this issue, that how this global cooperation is taking place. So International Agency for Artificial Intelligence has been proposed on the lines of IAEA. Next, so this thing happened. USA said that they have a Washington plan. Washington plan was basically they say that we have created a template. We need global cooperation and AI regulation is difficult. So Washington, US has created a template for AI regulation, which can be emulated by other nations also. So that was the Washington plan. Then USA has this own Biden's executive order, which basically says that there should be more information sharing between the government and the companies, the new age companies making AI. The codes should be shared and it should be reviewed by an independent authority. If required, some changes or tweaks may be suggested, or the code may be removed altogether. So that was the Biden's executive order. Then we have European Union, which has brought in the law to regulate AI, and it is centered around more about the rights of human beings, individuals, as compared to the AI industry. Okay, so all this has happened. Besides this, there is a rivalry going on between US and China on artificial intelligence. And China is emerging as a great superpower in the AI field, and thereby USA is trying to choke China by choking the supply of talent, US talent, as well as supply of advanced chips within and providing it to China for the new AI. So there is a rivalry that is going on. Now they have some sort of an agreement on AI, and so has to build trust. But that doesn't mean that both countries are going to try to outdo each other, right? So these are the some of the things that are there in the news. Now, as far as we are concerned, we have to be more proactive and have a regulation and framework for the AI as soon as possible. Next, we come to the international news. Israel pushes deeper into south as Gaza, as US UN urged civilian safety. Fine, so violence is taking place again. Um, UK to increase salary threshold for work visas to cut immigration. It's simple. People are coming to UK, so it says that if you're coming for the work, so you should be a high value, a high tech person, and thereby a salary limit has been put. So only people who are contributing significantly, they only come to the UK by putting a minimum salary threshold. Next, we come to the economy news. Oil prices have fallen down from $81 per barrel, 83, $81 per barrel to $78 per barrel. Right, so this is a significant development. US rate is still the same, 83.37. Now today's business section is simple. Indian economy to be third largest by 2030, we already know, right? S&P Global doesn't have to tell us. We are aware of this. This is a natural thing that will take place. Okay. Next, e-gaming lobby comes up to prepare a code of ethics to so association as to the ethical practices in the gaming industry that should be followed. And if they are engaging in the gambling aspect, then that has to be transparently told to the public who are subscribing. Then the government is telling the big tech companies like Google, Amazon, etc., that their terms of use have to reflect the Indian law violations as well. Now, with the China pneumonia cases that are taking place, it is a matter of concern for Indian traders in the sense that one, from China, we get the APIs, active pharmaceutical ingredients, which are required to make drugs, medicines. So that is one of the issues. Then a lot of imports are coming from China, electronic imports, etc. Even if we are making something in India, the raw materials and parts are coming from China. So this is a matter of concern. And even though we import significantly from China, China is the fourth largest export destination for India. So with the pneumonia-like cases, there may be a lockdown, and thereby the demand in China may fall down, and this may also affect the Indian export market. Fertilizer sales rise despite patchy monsoon find. Now, there is this one thing that was important. So, when we have this fertilizers, it has to be done in a ratio: nitrogen 4 times, potassium 2, and sorry, phosphorus 2 and potassium 1, 4 is to 2 is to 1. But because subsidy is given on urea, basically for urea, so there is disproportionate use of nitrogen in fertilizers. So, now the ratio is 10.911, 4.95 for phosphorus and potassium 1. And this is, of course, leading to fertility decline, right? So that is a matter of concern. Soil health is coming to a low. Right then, so this is all we have in today's news analysis. Thank you.